So what have we here anyway? Some sort of high-toned and fancy to do, and you're all here for interesting reasons, I'm sure. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much indeed for coming to this marvellous time. My name is Captain Jack, unless I owe you money, and then I've never heard of him. But I am most sincerely a pirate. Some people call me a scallywag. Some people call me a trickster. Some call me an outlaw. But of course you know the difference between outlaws and in-laws. Outlaws are wanted. Now the first language pattern that we're going to be playing with is, if I look in my magic book. So the first one, you all have a handout there, so you might want to have a little look at this. Distraction by disassociation. Now I learned this from politicians who seem to have a habit of talking in disassociated language. Mistakes were made, they say, rather than I made a mistake. Have you heard some of this language that politicians are using? Excellent. So we're using the kind of spirit of that, and what we're going to be doing is talking in third person. Now this is a little tricky, however, it's worth a play, because it does create some sense of confusion for others. Now, instead of using I, or you, or him, or her, we talk about the person, or the one who. Okay? So the one who. So some of you might remember my conversation with Gibbs when I threw water all over him, or when he had water thrown over him. Of course, it was nothing to do with me. And he felt that it was unfair that I'd poured water over him. Do some of you remember that point? Yes and no. Good. Now, let me tell you about Captain Hector Barbosa, because he's, let's say, part associate, but mostly scoundrel. And I heard a rumour about Barbosa, and I know the rumour to be true because I started it. He has himself a, what should we say to keep it polite, a doxy, a floozy. He has a lady for himself, which is a very unusual state of affairs, I have to say. But apparently they had a bit of a contretemps. And one of the reasons for this was that she hid his rum. Terrible thing to do to a man. But the reason was because he kept leaving his wooden leg lying around. She didn't like it, you see. So the way it went was, the one that did the hiding told the one that did the leaving that if the one that did the leaving leaves said leg, wooden or otherwise, lying around, then the one who did the leaving would find that the rum would remain hidden. Are you with me so far? Excellent. Now, the one who did the leaving countered that if the one who did the hiding continued to hide the rum, then the one who did the leaving, she would find the one who did the leaving the one who did the hiding, financially, let's say, incapacitated in some way. However, the one who did the leaving heard from the one that did the hiding that if the one that did the leaving left, that the one who did the leaving would find said leg on the fire. Oh dear. But since said leg contained more rum than the rum that was hidden, the one who did the leaving was more inclined to acquiesce to the request of not leaving the leg around, as it were. So are you with me? Now, this is the spirit of talking in third party, the one who. So what I'd like in just a moment is to give you an opportunity to try out, and you may want to jot some thoughts down first, that's absolutely fine. But if you think of an interaction that perhaps you had with somebody, or describe a situation that two people might be in, but instead of using him and her, or I, or you, or whatever, it could be buying something, purchasing something from a shop, but instead of using I's and you's, label the behaviour. So what is the behaviour that each one is doing? So let's say, we'll label the behaviour, I'll write it down here. So label the behaviour. So you might have the one that does the buying, if you had this situation, and the one that did the selling. Does that make sense? If you were buying something, there'd be the one that did the buying and the one that did the selling. So you will be talking in, I bought something. It will be the one that did the buying, went into the shop to buy from the one who was doing the selling. That's what we're after, that kind of thing.